Okay,
And we're live.
Yeah.
All right.
That was super fucking ridiculous. So I don't usually have issues like that. I've been doing this for years. And I've only had that happen a couple times. One time was Jubilee, and the other time was like Hotel Has Been or something like that. It usually, like, I don't know why some companies do it, some do not. I should have realized when there wasn't very many reactions. Like I watch a lot of like reactions to songs, right? There's like Nick Noctura, there's the Black guy. There's a couple of them that react to music videos, and nobody reacted to Nightwish. I should have realized there was a reason why, but I did not put two and two together. So it's a beautiful song, still a beautiful video, no matter what Joseph thinks. But
the important thing is it's off the screen.
No, stop it.
We are freed now. And Floor returned home to the floor.
Oh my God.
I bet you that's the reason. I bet you she was listening. So at least it was a clean floor.
Out of control. Okay, there. Let me make sure everything's good. It should. I mean on my phone.
I'm imagining her real natural talking voice is that Texas fat woman voice.
No, I think
Texas
she's
middle-aged voice. But you know the one I'm talking. You know the one I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. But I think she's finished. I think she. I don't know.
Good morning, Dan.
Sure.
Good morning, everybody who came back. So, for good reason and for the better, the initial stream was interrupted. That's fine. We're going to move on to the big stuff. We're going to move on to what's trending. Donald fucking Trump finally basically pled guilty.
I mean, here's the problem I have with that. Okay. So I was going to do a little bit of research into that this morning. I woke up. I'm like, I'm going to do research. And then I put on YouTube music and forgot. So explain this to us like we're fucking four.
The jury is supposed to all agree on exactly what happened. The judge gave them multiple choice. Okay. That's basically what happened. So that's the issue. That's the underlying issue. That's why I say he shouldn't be convicted. But for you're talking about, here's the thing. Step for step the trial, but here's the basis of it, that Trump had falsified 34 times, falsified some documents. Why
are you breaking up so bad?
Let me check. Or is that just on her end? Let me make sure my microphone is plugged in well. Hear me? Do you hear me well? All my settings
you're breaking up a little bit, but
it is me. Let me just disconnect from YouTube on my phone. Maybe that'll.
You should be okay though.
Yeah. I'm seeing the chat moving. Are they responding? Are you seeing them on your end?
Yeah.
Good. How do I sound now?
You sound fine now.
Okay.
It only happens every once in a while.
All right. Sorry about that. Okay. So the simple version of what happened. Donald Trump 34 times falsified documents. The jury agreed. And that's the misdemeanor charge. Here's the complicated part. If the documents were forged or they were falsified in attempt to conceal any other crime for anything whatsoever, could have been public indecency for all we know, then it automatically becomes a felony. So he is now guilty on 34 counts of the same felony.
I think they all hold, it says he faces a maximum sentence of 1.5 to 4 years. Isn't that per charge though?
I believe if they're saying maximum sentence, then they're talking about I think it says per count. If they wanted to be clear on that, should say per count. That would be amazing. That means he'll die in a New York jail. He'll die in Rikers Island.
You actually think he's going to jail?
I hope at this point, I actually hope he does. The reason being, anybody else that violated a gag order 10 times would have absolutely been locked up for contempt. And now here's
absolutely
something. Now here's something else. He's found guilty. It doesn't matter if he's really guilty at this point, unfortunately. The presumption of innocence is lost. Jeopardy is done. He is no longer he is no longer within most of his rights. So at this point, because the presumption of innocence is lost, for him to go further into which he's going to do, I think he's at a rally today. So he's going to say something for the world to see about the trial. He's going to bring himself further into a hole. And what happens from here, this is called a lack of remorse, basically. So anything he has said since the trial, basically mocking the trial, refusing to accept guilt, can be used against him in his sentencing. So when it comes to July 11th, if he is flipping his lips over and over, which he is destined to do, then the judge is within rights to actually just give him the maximum.
I mean, anybody, like you said in the beginning, anybody that violated that gag order 10 times would not have got the treatment that he got.
He already got the celebrity treatment.
Oh, for sure. I don't understand how so many people are justifying that.
Well, you already know how it is. Everything's favorites. Everything's.
Oh yeah.
The man he's a man of praise. It's not. You understand? It's not about the Republican Party. It's specifically about him. The other Republicans. No, I never thought the Republican Party liked him. I was in no way surprised that the Supreme Court didn't save him when it came to the 2020 election, and for a lot of reasons. So, and not just because I know the GOP overall doesn't like him. Remember, they didn't want him to run for president until he started winning.
Did he initially run years back or wanted to run as a Democrat?
I don't know that he wanted to run. Probably did. I don't know. I don't know exactly, but yeah, he was a Democrat back then.
That's what I thought.
He was a pro-choice Democrat back then. He thought there would be more money in being a pro-life Republican. So then he changed his image and he blended in over there instead. And since then, we all saw, if you remember, the GOP actually didn't want him. They didn't want Hillary, but they sure as shit didn't want him either. But he started winning in the polls. He was rising in the polls. He was rising polls because these guys had a hard-on for him. And once he started winning, nobody could get enough of him. But the party overall doesn't like him. They don't give a shit about him. You saw a lot of politicians were halfway stabbing him in the back, but making sure the knife doesn't stand by itself. Just they can say, I'm sorry, because they want to win. The Supreme Court didn't save him. I'm not surprised. So people who fight about fraud in the election. There is fraud in every election. I don't think there's any such thing as an election without fraud. Right. But in order to get some kind of favorable ruling, there has to be so much fraud in any given any given voter at the Electoral College. In order for there to actually be some kind of decision to overturn that area of the election, the fraud has to be overwhelming. The fraud was not overwhelming. There was fraud, and there were lots of incomplete ballots and such. Yeah, but that's not enough. There has to be so much fraud that there is no way the voters at the Electoral College could have actually made a sound decision, because that's the point. They're supposed to look at the general population vote and then ask themselves, does this reflect the district that you represent? That's what they're supposed to do. So if they disagree with that, and that's why, they can vote against the majority. That's what they're for. But
this
because it's like
is
that,
wild. Are you really that obsessed with Donald Trump?
Yes, they are. But think about this. How many states they really live in? They're going to talk about civil war. All they're going to do is run into the violent deputies that run their counties. And those guys are following the money. Yeah, those guys are all, political fanatics too, but ultimately they follow the money. Their money comes from the county. The county, remember, the sheriff's department, pays them, but the funding comes from the board of supervisors. So if they don't do the job, the board of supervisors gets to start cutting funding. So these guys are going to start making arrests as these people out in the dipshits in places like Arizona and other like in some Midwest states, whether it was like Georgia, Texas, all these places, they're not going to side with you just because of Trump. If these people start acting up, then they're gonna show what kind of law and order Republican they really are. A lot of these guys are going to get locked up if they do something stupid. And remember, especially in conservative America, because they were more concerned with punishing the guilty, you got to deal with those guys. You got to deal with the kind of guys that are going to throw you in solitary just to keep you from talking to your lawyer. And they're not specifically within rights to do it, but at the same time, because of the discretion that is afforded by the sheriff's department and the fact that he's an elected official, not a lot stops him. It's got to be something blatant. Like there's got to be like an open announcement that people are just going to get thrown into solitary, just as a means of infringing on constitutional rights. So bottom line, if these guys weren't really get stupid, go ahead. That's fine. You can deal with you.
Your McDonald's Wi-Fi is cutting out again.
It's.
I mean, Section 8 Wi-Fi. Section 8 Wi-Fi. I like that one better. I'm stealing that. Sorry. I'm stealing that. That's so much better.
Well, what's funny is I live down the street from some Section 8 homes.
I'm not. Not even a little
bit. I bet they do have. I bet they do. I bet they do. I don't even have a section. I have to work for mine, for everything I have. But anyway. But anyway, yeah, if these guys really want to get stupid, they can go ahead. They can deal with the kind of deputies that they voted for, that they wanted. I bet you're going to see a few heroes. And unfortunately, this is something that, unfortunately, it's no longer avoidable. But once Trump goes, there will be subdivisions, more so within the Republican side, and there will be people trying to fill the gap in the place that he created. And this happens all the time with extremists. It always happens. Whether probably the best example was when bin Laden was assassinated. Al-Qaeda broke off, and then you have ISIS.
Okay,
that's probably the best.
Two things. Hooded, I don't know if you're doing that on purpose, but I think you're accidentally deleting messages. Another thing. Yeah. See, I fucking knew it. It's either you or Black Phoenix. Like, oops, I fell asleep and deleted somebody. I blocked somebody. My bad. Sorry, Gary, for one.
Fucking day drinkers. You guys are something else. Wait, you see what I mean? Whether it's something, a national terrorist group, or even if it's something smaller.
Okay, but you use the word extremist.
Mm-hmm.
I also feel like there is a faction of people that are not necessarily extremists and still have this weird love for Trump.
Well, for people yes, you're right. There are people who worship this guy, and it's absolutely insane. It tore apart my family. We didn't come from a crazy family like this, and it still tore apart my family. Fucking irritates me to this day because it's still going on. But when you're talking, but the people who are actually talking about civil war, and that's for years, I saw that as mainly an empty threat by people who said we're going to war if we don't get the president we want. I've been hearing that.
That's like the opposite of democracy. Like, you've got to learn to accept that even if the person you vote for doesn't win, that doesn't mean you get to take it by power or take it by force. I mean,
and they're not gonna. But here's also. And it's unfortunate, but we are going to see that the real violent extremists on the right wing, the ones that really embolden the more vocal extremists on the left wing, the extremists on the right wing were always a smaller constituent. And they're also really well spaced apart. But the internet gave people the illusion that they're more closely organized than we think.
Right.
Now, yeah, they can, or sure, they could organize better, but I think when you see them organize, if they actually do go that far, they're not as pronounced as the left wing made them out to be. Right. But it was always good for headlines. So, and truth be told, whether it's for comedy or politics, these guys are low hanging fruit.
I have a question for you. Okay, this is something that I've seen kind of discussed when it comes to this situation. And I think there's some validity to it. But is this going to look like a bit of him being a martyr to some people?
He's a false idol. This is why, remember, I'm an atheist. There's no such thing. In my mind, all idols are false idols. And the history of worship has shown us how far people will go when they believe in anything other than themselves. And they will, to the point where they will sacrifice themselves, they will sacrifice other people because they believe in something other than the truth. But they gave themselves to the myth. So, but like I said,
it's a little scary though, because what I've noticed I was watching, it was a long time ago, Destiny said it best. Like, people that are in this sort of echo chamber and unable to answer for any new evidence, right? It will basically more confirm their worldview. They'll look at this and go, yep, told you it was corrupt, told you nothing mattered, told you our systems was this. This will basically confirm their beliefs more than it will actually open their eyes to maybe there's some shit going on.
Right. And remember, nobody, especially along political lines, most people were just not open to the idea that Donald Trump would have been truly guilty of any 34 counts. I expected at best 34 misdemeanors, honestly, because I thought the DA's argument was weak. It's something related to the 2016 election. Now, here's the thing. He can appeal.
Right.
You can always appeal, but this is how appeals work. It's not as simple as going to an appeals court and saying, there's no way the jury got this right. Come on. You don't get to do anything like that. First thing you look at is the court record. The court record is treated as absolute fact.
Right.
Everything left on the court record is what's held against you in your conviction. When you go, and remember, you don't have the presumption of innocence anymore. That's only for the trial. Right. When you go into appeal, the burden of proof is now on you. So you're going to bring up the court record, and you're going to raise some issues from case law, and you're going to argue why there were errors made during the trial that amounted to a lack of reasonable doubt. And then from there, you get to explain, are you arguing for a mistrial or are you arguing for a reversal? So he has argument for mistrial because some of the instructions were vague. And that's not even the biggest issue I'm talking about, but it is true. Bad jury instructions are actually a good way to get a decision reversed. Judges are usually really good at giving people the jury instructions they want because they don't want to get reversed. Getting reversed is how you lose your job if you're a judge. So it's in their interest to, yeah.
Isn't that why we have an appeals court though?
No, well, yeah, but the appeals court, remember, the appeals court reviews the trial.
Right.
So depending on what the court determines, if they reverse, there are reversible errors, like a constitutional violation. That's a big mark against you if you're a trial judge. Remember, the trial is below the appeals court, and the Supreme Court is even higher. So if you get overturned, if you're a trial judge getting overturned, or if you're an appeals judge and your decisions are getting overturned by the Supreme Court, there are review boards in place, and they hold that stuff against you. Stuff like if you have too many.
Makes sense.
Yeah, if you have too many decisions reversed or overturned upon appeal, then that's exactly how you lose your job.
Okay.
That's also why when it comes to the issue of qualified immunity, there are no heroes, because the Supreme Court already set the precedent. Right. And it's a very, very strict line of reasoning. So that's also why it seems like some judges they won't even hear some cases because they're so scared of getting reversed. And remember, a lot of them are senior citizens. They can lose their retirement. They can lose everything. So they just won't do it. So that's the importance of an appeals court. And that's the importance of the judge giving people the kind of jury instructions that they really want.
And he's absolutely probably going to appeal this, right? Like,
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, if he does actually get voted into presidency, as it's currently understood, he wouldn't have to. I personally disagree with that take. But
what do you
that's how
mean? Explain. What do you mean he wouldn't have to?
as the Constitution is understood, there's nothing that stops anybody convicted, even of any felony charge. It could be the worst felonies on earth. If they're in prison right now, there's nothing that actually stops the voters from voting that guy.
Right. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know that.
Right. I disagree with that take because our greatest commandment that no one shall be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law seems to heavily implicit otherwise. Because if you're deprived of liberty, that's why you can't bring your gun. You don't get to bring your wife and kids with the prison. That you don't get to free associate.
Right.
I would think that would also disqualify you from presidency, just based heavily implicit by that line alone. But
let me get
that's
this
not the
super
way
chat
the
real quick. Hooded, you're fine. I figured you're totally fine. Robert says it's kind of the med set. He's talking about what we were talking about earlier. That fed QAnon years ago. I don't think we need to say years ago. I feel like it's still being fed.
No, that stuff's always been there. Yeah, that's the thing. That QAnon was just a new phase in the same old shit.
Right.
Before QAnon was Alex Jones, and then unless QAnon actually is Alex Jones,
and yeah.
And Alex Jones, he was something else. And imagine my disappointment when Alex Jones turned out to be one of Trump's. Because I thought before Donald Trump, this is also how you know Alex Jones is a fraud. Because before Donald Trump, every president was an evil reptilian space alien that eats through his butthole.
Right.
Yeah, every single one. And then I was waiting for Alex Jones to just go batshit and throw all that in Donald Trump's face. And then they end up hugging and kissing under a rainbow flag in June, leading into Donald Trump's presidency. These guys are, they're all frauds. And hopefully people will see that. But I think that's something on the right wing. They either pretend doesn't happen, or maybe they just really don't know that Alex Jones has always been that kind of a fraud. But because Democrats got so bad, in their mind, it just completely defeats everything else batshit that came out of Alex Jones' mouth. But that's not the way I see it. I'm not a fan of anybody. I'm just here to laugh at you, like the few sane people left on earth. I'm just here to laugh at them.
So what I want to know though is when you initially started talking about this, you said this wasn't the way. Like you disagreed with the way that this was done, and I want to know why.
There's a long-standing issue in jury instructions. Because remember, the jury is supposed to be unanimous, but sometimes the jury instructions effectively amount to a multiple choice to the point where you can argue that it's not truly unanimous. It's basically unanimous enough. And what you get instead of a determination of guilty beyond a reasonable doubt, you more closely get to a lesser standard called clear and convincing, where the evidence looks good. It looks clear that something bad happened. You're convinced the guy who did it did something. The guy accused did something, but it's not beyond doubt. In order to say beyond reasonable doubt, the pattern of evidence has to necessarily implicate that the accused had to be the one who did it. But what happens, some instructions, like I said, they come with so many different options that you can't actually say the jury is unanimous. That's what happened to Hannah Gutierrez-Reed in March. She was convicted in April. Like here, I'm going to read the jury instructions for her manslaughter. Now, people who don't understand that, this is the woman who loaded the gun that Alec Baldwin carelessly wielded,
right?
And resulting in somebody's death. The charge was manslaughter, meaning that this was a lawful activity resulting in an unlawful killing. So she was considered guilty because Hannah was considered guilty because she played her part in that. She is the one who loaded the gun. She did say that. But there are, like I said, I disagreed with that determination because there are some issues with the story. Like she apparently wasn't the one that gave Alec Baldwin the gun. Alex said,
that whole situation is so wild.
Yeah. That whole thing's crazy, but I'd have to dissect that separately so we don't lose track of what's going on here.
Right.
Let me explain what I'm talking about when I say jury instructions sometimes have too many options to the point where you can say the jury isn't actually guilty. So these were Hannah's instructions. So these are the instructions that the jury got to convict Hannah. And this is just element 1 of 5. They had to agree on all 5 that they have to answer yes to all 5 in order to convict. But this is just the first one. That Hannah loaded live ammunition into a firearm intended to contain only inert ammunition, and or Hannah failed to perform an adequate safety check of the ammunition she loaded into the firearm. So that part right there, and or, that's the part that frustrates people, because the instructions because you don't actually know which one the jury voted for. They don't get to circle which one. They're just, if that whole thing is element number 1. So subjectively, the jury has to agree to all or part of it. But then that's what creates the issue. So you heard that. So the first option is she loaded live ammunition intended to contain into a gun only intended to contain inert ammunition, and she failed to check the gun.
Or she failed to check the gun.
Well, hold on. Well, listen how it says. Or she loaded the ammunition. She loaded the ammunition, but she didn't fail to check the firearm. Or the third option, she didn't load the firearm, but she did fail to perform an adequate safety check of the ammunition she loaded into the firearm.
Oh my God, I am so glad I have never had to do jury duty whatsoever. Oh my God. Yeah. There would be so much pressure. Like, just listening to this gives me anxiety.
But you see what I mean, though? It's crazy. It's not a straight line to somebody's guilt, and that's what beyond reasonable doubt is. And, they tell you beyond reasonable doubt doesn't mean without any doubt whatsoever, because if you use your imagination, of course, you can create doubt.
You're going to come up with something. Yes,
right.
Exactly.
But beyond reasonable doubt means you look at the straight line that the court record implicates. And you look at the straight line in the court record and you say, does this necessarily implicate somebody's guilt? And then you say guilty or not guilty from there.
Right.
But when you have multiple choices like this, that's where things get confusing. And it's a similar thing with the felony murder rule. Remember, in felony murder, if there's a dead body at the scene of the felony, the accused gets charged with the dead body. They can be charged with first-degree murder.
Oh my God!
And if you look at the jury instructions, will say, do you element 1, somebody attempted attempted the felony, attempted the felony, committed the felony, or aided and abetted the felony. But you don't know which one the jury picked. So people are going away for murder, facing long, serious felony conviction charges, and the jury instructions aren't actually pinpoint. And that's the issue in these jury instructions. So Trump, more specifically, the jury got to choose. They had to agree that he either violated I had the text right in front of me, but basically they had to agree that he either violated the law by falsifying records, that he violated another Voting Rights Act or another Voters Act that exists in New York, or something else that I can't remember because I don't have the text right in front of me anymore. But basically, the jury had 3 options on one element. So as soon as they put yes on that one element, they're agreeing to 3 possibilities, but we on the outside don't actually know which one they voted for. And they don't, like I said, they don't circle exactly which one. So it's not exactly unanimous. It translates to a lesser standard than beyond reasonable doubt. And that's why if you were to ask anybody in law to explain a clear difference between beyond reasonable doubt, the highest standard, and the second highest, clear and convincing, they will give you a subjective answer, because the way law has been practiced, this has been going on for generations, to the point where there's probably no court on earth that's going to save Donald.
Right.
And now here's the thing, even if he is, this would be very interesting. So he was convicted. If the appeals court lets him out, the Supreme Court can throw him back in.
Say that one more time.
If he is convicted and he goes to prison, the appeals court can agree there were errors at the trial. They can give him a mistrial, but the state can appeal that decision to the Supreme Court, the state Supreme Court. And then the state Supreme Court can disagree with the lower appeals court. And then that means Trump would have to go back to prison.
Oh my God.
Right. And this is 100% a state, almost completely a state level issue. Unless there's a fundamental due process issue that Donald Trump can prove to a federal court, it has to be something that affects the entirety of the United States law. That's the only way he would be able to get out from there. Now, I'm talking hypotheticals. Like I said, he hasn't been sentenced yet, and like I said, based on the way he's violating the gag orders, he should be. I'm perfectly fine with him going to prison.
Right. 10 times is absolutely ridiculous. And then when they had the first couple, I think it was like 6 the first time or something. He got what, $1,000 fine? $1,000 fine? Stop it.
Well, remember, it's per offense. He could have been fined $1,000 each time. And yeah, for him, that's nothing. I get that. But the fact that he got one fine out of 10 clear offenses, that's 10 instances of contempt, for fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But like I said, anybody else, would have been locked up. So he's been getting enough treatment. This is what I was looking for. So the jury got to choose that that Trump was violating the Federal Elections Campaign Act, falsification of other business records, or violation of tax laws. But like I said, they don't circle which one. So that's the issue. The problem is that jury instructions aren't exactly unanimous. This has been going on in U.S. law for generations.
Right.
It's something that should have been phased out a very long time ago. But unfortunately, it's still there. And that's one of those things that you look at when you understand it. You realize all the issues about mass incarceration. Sometimes it comes down to the jury instruction. It's not always prejudice from the outside and people bringing that into the courthouse. Sometimes it's the courts. The courts themselves will not yield on these errors. And that's unfortunate, because remember, we pay for that. Because if the jury can't unanimously agree on what he did, then he should not have been convicted, no matter who he is. Personally, I don't care. The reason I said he should pay the penalties for contempt, because that's separate from the charges. If the judge issues a gag order and you violate it 10 times, you can be found not guilty of all charges, but you still violated the gag order, because that's contempt of court. Okay, the state law is an affront against the state. Violations of the gag order is an affront against the court. So those would have been separate. But like I said, because he's stupid, he's going to run his mouth. He's probably going to say something that's going to piss off the same judge, Merchan, that's going to be in charge of his sentencing. So come July 11th, he's going to flip his lips until he gets the maximum sentence. Bet your ass. He's probably, I bet you.
I've been looking it up a little. Well, I was looking up trying to find out what Michael was talking about, because Michael said, didn't the DA run on the promise to get Trump for something? It looks like he ran on a pledge to focus on his investigations, which is different than, I would say significantly different than trying to, that's different. But it looks like he's already, have you seen this?
What, this headline? What was this?
No, this. He's already talked about it publicly.
Yeah, and that's why I said he's going to talk himself into the maximum sentence. So he went right up there. He said, this is a sham trial.
Oh, my God.
Okay, now you have to understand, even if it's not blatant, it's up to the discretion of the judge. And here's the thing, if you believe this judge is biased against you, then shut the fuck up.
Right, stop talking.
Did. But hey, here, look, I got a piece for you to clip. By Donald Trump's own implicit admission, he is guilty because he pled the fifth. Remember how many years he said that? He said that you don't
do that. Yeah, he said that was basically guilty.
Right. And here's what happens. When you go to your trial and you don't take the stand, you don't have to. But in order to stay off the stand, you have to exercise your Fifth Amendment right.
Right.
What it say? No, nor shall any person be compelled to be a witness against himself. That's called pleading the fifth. So all these years later, all that shit he had to say about Hillary, and he was finally the one who pled the fifth. He just didn't say it out loud, and nobody's going to say it out loud. You're not allowed to say that at the trial. But for those of you who don't understand what you just witnessed, you witnessed Donald Trump pleading the fifth, which he said he would never do.
That is wild to me.
Take satisfaction in that for people who wanted to see him walk himself into a hole. He finally did it. But that's the thing, because most people don't really understand constitutional law the way they should.
No, they don't understand. And I'm not even going to I'll be the first to admit I do not. Like,
even with what I know, I don't know enough. I learned I have the privilege to have somebody within reach that I could have called and just asked questions at most times during the day. So I'm lucky to know what I know, and I still don't know enough. There's always something else, because there's always something else at play where even if you think you can't always know what a judge is going to say. You can't always know what another prosecutor is going to say. There's always room for a new variable.
Right.
But for him, anyway, if what he said is true, he pled guilty, because you only plead the fifth if you're guilty.
So here's another thing I want to ask, because this looks like he's going to be sentenced on July, I believe it said July 11th.
Yeah.
Let's look here. Yeah, it says he's set for July 11th. Now, with this is soon. Now, if he appeals, is this pushed back? Does he still go to sentencing? How does that work?
Because nobody died except himself on the inside.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and he can actually post bail, which he can get bail pending an appeal. And he may not go, but it's also up to the judge.
Right. Okay.
But at the same time, he qualifies.
And this brings a whole nother big thing, that like the bigger picture is all of this is going to be going on during the 2024 election. Like, we're in an election year. This isn't going to change anything. Like, he's still going to be able to run. I'm not saying that, but this is going to, I don't know. How does this affect something like that? Because a lot of times, like, just as an example, when the Kyle Rittenhouse stuff happened, right? There was a lot of Dems that immediately were like, this kid's guilty. This kid is going away. And then when he got proven not guilty, Republicans were like, deal with it. Here is the truth. It went through the court. But now that it's Donald Trump, it's not the truth, even though it went through the court. So how do you think this is going to affect the general election?
Well, first off, Kyle's house and Kyle's trial and this one were way different. Remember, the star witness, the guy that Kyle first shot, admitted he pulled a gun on Kyle.
Right.
For this, though, that's the thing. When it comes down to political divides, it really doesn't matter, because in their minds, they were told ahead of time Trump is a victim before they even read the state law. I bet you if you ask most of these people what that law actually says, they don't know. They're just going to say it's a sham, and that's it. That's the only part they know, because that's what they were told to say. It has not. I bet you they did not go to the. Actually, I think you and I, when this news first broke in December, you and I went over that Class E felony. We went over this in a previous stream.
Right.
You and I actually read it. Yeah, it just comes down to falsifying documents. That's really, really what it is. But I bet you most of them did not do the reading that you and I did right here. But they believe that he is a victim because they were told he is a victim. And that's all it takes. That's all. That's what happens when people take sides. Whoever's higher up, just do whatever they say. They will never admit that the guys at the bottom will never admit someone is higher up to them. But the guys at the bottom will do exactly what they were told. Seemingly 100% of the time anyway. So the way it affects the election, more specifically, it would have a very small effect, because a lot of people didn't like Trump, but at the same time, people can't afford Biden. And that's something that has been proven true. Even if you don't like Republicans, you can't afford Democrats. At New York, Christ, what is the average rent? Close to $3,000. I don't think there's any such thing as a single bedroom in New York. I think everything's 2 beds. So everything's at least $3,000. And, that's on the shitty side of town. And Democrats ruined New York. That's why my family came to California before Democrats ruined this place. Now everybody's going, moving towards the middle of the places like Iowa, Arizona, Nevada, which actually Nevada is kind of blue, but still everybody's moving, trying to get away from these guys because they didn't want to vote in Republicans because of their hard stance on crime. Like these guys are tyrannical, period. But then they found out that Democrats are a different problem altogether. And now it's getting really hard to get rid of them. So people are going to vote. There's still going to be a lot of people voting just to keep Democrats away. How this affects the election, though, here's the thing. This specifically, this honestly, now that I think about it, has much more to do with Trump specifically. You have to remember a lot of states have been flipping. They've been more, a lot of states that have been more so purple, like Arizona, Ohio. I think Ohio was still red leaning, but
It's
Arizona,
red,
but
usually.
Arizona went blue, like lightly. So it's not like a heavy difference, but it's the only difference that matters when it comes to electing the president. Sorry. So that's the only difference that matters when it comes to electing the president. So with this in mind, actually, this doesn't really do anything. It really does come down to who the voters want or who the voters don't want. And it's clear in the bluest areas, they just don't want Trump. So honestly, with that in mind, I'm actually in the depression he won't win. Even though, like, people want him because they think the president has more control over the economy than he really does. He doesn't. There were winners and losers when Trump was president. Yeah, a lot of people did save money when he changed the tax brackets, and a lot of people didn't. But those voices never got elevated. So
what is going on in the chat right now?
I
Shit.
I saw it too. Let's let them hash it out. Let's keep this going because this is trending right now.
Hooded, you're hiding everyone. I don't think that's on purpose, but
no, I think you know what it is. I think he puts his phone in his pocket and he doesn't actually turn it off.
That it was at work.
That should happen, guys. Hey, a few timeouts has happened. It'll last a moment.
It'll last a minute, I think. Like it's a minute.
Yeah, you'll be back, but
something. Yeah.
But anyway, on to the big news. So the point being, Donald Trump doesn't have the impact that he used to. If this were going into 2020, it'd be a different conversation. But the way so many districts, I shouldn't even say states, but the way so many districts, and that is true. If Democrats keep going, we are in trouble because the president, he doesn't have total control, but he has more control than we think. The only thing that's saving us is the federal courts.
And I think a lot of people are going to look at it like all presidents go through little gaffes and stuff, right? But we've never had a culture where everything is recorded. So every hot mic issue, everything time we've seen Joe Biden fall. Like, I am not a Joe Biden fan. I don't want to vote for Joe Biden. He's not capable of running the country. But it always comes down to when you're voting for the lesser of two evils. That's pretty much what it is.
Well, I'd like to remind people the president doesn't really run the country. That's an old conservative myth because they're always voting for the guy they wish to worship. It's the president he runs the federal government. That's true. But the federal government doesn't really have the ironclad control that a lot of people think. This ain't really Russia. It's true. Yeah, there are lots of issues with the American criminal justice system and other issues in government. But all said and done, because of the way the powers are divided, the kind of tyranny that we wish would never exist, it's not here yet. It's really hard to do that here because, just look at the courts. Like, we have 6 levels of court. If you're convicted of a crime at a state level, if there's a constitutional issue, then you have 5 chances to get that.
Getting that, yeah.
Yeah, you have 5 chances to get that back. Even if you have to take that all the way to the Supreme Court, you have 5 chances to get your liberty back. And because of the political divide, you'd be surprised. Some courts will side with you when others wouldn't, and maybe the Supreme Court will take your side when you thought they wouldn't. Like, I don't think the Supreme Court to this day has actually agreed that somebody should have been let out altogether, but they've granted a few mistrials and they've given a lot of people new trials.
Right.
Yeah. So because of stuff like that, remember, the president doesn't have as much control as we think, but a lot of people wish he had more control than he really does. And that's why historically I wanted Republicans to lose, because they treat the president like a goddamn king, but he's not. Now for me, as long as the federal government is divided, so no one party rules any level of government, then we're fine. So right now you have a conservative majority in the Supreme Court, and then you have a conservative majority in the House of Congress. And that right there is going to make a huge difference. Yeah, and the powers that were afforded to the president, unfortunately, yeah, they can do a lot. We're seeing that right now. Economically, this sucks. And then you have the state level Democrats that try to make bad things worse. Like it's like they're trying to one up each other. Like it's no bullshit what you're seeing in the news, like the fast food prices. First off, I think you're stupid if you want to pay $15 for a goddamn Big Mac. I've never bought a Big Mac in my life. They suck.
Ever?
I got one.
Oh my God, they are delicious. And don't get me wrong, it's been a long time since I had one, but they are fucking delicious. Stop it.
No, they're not. It's McDonald's. No, they're not.
It's wild to me, isn't it? Now California is something like $20 an hour for minimum wage for fast food workers.
Yeah, specifically for fast food workers. So that's why fast food restaurants jacked up their prices. Most of them did. Like a handful are still competing. Like Burger King is actually still okay. But I stopped spending money at McDonald's years ago when they charged me $8.98, I think, for 20 McNuggets. It was supposed to be $5. What? So I don't even care about that. But the point being, what you're seeing as far as Donald Trump, like I said, just finally answer that question. I really don't think he has the impact because so many districts have been turning blue anyway. That with or without him, I'm not predicting a Republican president next. As far as I can tell, though, it is really hard because nobody wants him to win and nobody wants Biden either. I don't know. This actually is getting hard.
It is because it comes down to it doesn't come down to who you're voting for as to what color you're voting for, right? Like, and that's a shame because, I mean, I think we need like age limits. I know we have term limits, but come on, like you've seen Biden, you've seen him fall. I'm not saying that means,
a lot of my relatives are 70. Like one of my uncles was 67 when he told me this. Age 70, you shouldn't be an elected official.
No.
By age 70, you just shouldn't be there anymore. It's too much. It's too much for you. He was 67. He's not dull. You can still talk to him about anything. He's still sharp, but he will tell you he's not the same man. And he doesn't agree with, and even he didn't agree with people around his age. My mom is 72. She doesn't want people her age making decisions like that. So even she agreed. Age 70, you got to call it quits. You're at an age where everything's changing. You got to leave it to someone else. And, the voters just got to make better decisions. But like you said,
how can they? Whoa!
I heard that
turned into a monster. That was so weird.
Yeah, go ahead. You're clear now. Go ahead.
What was I saying?
Well, we were talking about colors because some people are gonna. There's always gonna be a loyalist vote.
Oh, for sure. But this is why there needs to be not only age limits but term limits on everything. Like the Supreme Court, there should be no reason why that's a lifer job.
Well, there was a reason for it, but it's complicated by the fact that today we have the internet. The reason that justices were supposed to be nominated and then given life terms is because they weren't going to yield to the voter. They were just supposed to look at the letter of the law. But then they found a way around the letter of the law when they realized the Constitution just says that majority vote in the Supreme Court rules. So, and it doesn't have any correction for a wrongful ruling. So that's why a lot of times they just do whatever they want. That history I could go on and on about forever because it's fucked. It's the reason I started getting into this kind of activism because I actually do want to move to make some kind of change, at least locally, and something that could actually inspire the rest of the states to make a meaningful change.
It looks right here. It says a recent ABC poll found that only 4% of Trump supporters said they would withdraw their backing if he was convicted of a felony.
Though another 16% said they would reconsider it. Well,
so I mean that's 20% of your voter base. That's a big deal.
Yeah, if that's actually a good representative sample. Sure.
Right.
But at the same time, he isn't convicted yet. Oh, excuse me, he's convicted, but he's not sentenced yet.
Right.
The way he's going, don't be surprised if Judge Merchan says you're going to prison. Because it's within his discretion. Like I said, he qualifies for an appeal, for a bond pending appeal. So he wouldn't have to be locked up pending appeal, but that is up to the judge. It's not a right. It's something up to the judge. And because he never shuts up, like I said, the judge can call that no remorse. The judge can take that as a spit in the face of the court and say, you don't deserve this because clearly you don't care about the wrongs that you did. That would make things much more interesting. And I know
want
a lot.
To see you're saying how I want to see. Let's look here. I want to see what he actually. It's only 2 minutes long. Let's see what he had to say because
wait, speed it up. Before
speed it up. Yes, yeah. Because I know it's Trump. He's gonna be out of pocket. He's gonna be bombastic. Come on now, we know this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Judge, if you'll hold on just a second, sure. We see President Trump now. He is walking out. Let's listen.
Trial by a conflicted judge who was corrupt. It's a rigged trial, a disgrace.
Oh my God!
They wouldn't give us a venue change. We were at 5% or 6% in this district, in this area. This was a rigged, disgraceful trial. The real verdict is going to be November 5th by the people.
Oh, of course.
And they know what happened here, and everybody knows what happened here.
It was rigged.
You have a Soros-backed DA, and the whole thing. We didn't do a thing wrong. I'm a very innocent man, and it's okay. I'm fighting for our country. I'm fighting for our Constitution. Our whole country is being rigged right now. This was done by the Biden administration.
Oh my God.
To wound or hurt an opponent, a political opponent. And I think it's just a disgrace. And we'll keep fighting. We'll fight till the end and we'll win. Because our country's gone to hell. We don't have the same country anymore. We have a divided mess.
Wait, does that mean he hates America?
Decline, serious decline.
Yeah.
Millions and millions of people pouring into our country right now. From prisons and from mental institutions, terrorists, and they're taking over our country. We have a country that's in big trouble, but this was a rigged decision right from day one with a conflicted judge who should have never been allowed to try this case, never.
Why? Do you have any idea?
Constitution. This is long from over. Thank you very much.
Okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought. Do you have any idea about the judge?
About the conflict?
Yeah.
No, he's not conflicted. Is political bias. First off, political bias isn't specifically unconstitutional. If you wanted to appeal and say the judge is biased, you have to prove it. That's what I was saying earlier. That's how appeals work. The appeals court is the first lesson I really got from my teacher. Everybody's got bias. So if he's talking about the jury, remember he's a really innocent man, not a completely innocent man, just like a really innocent man, just like
absolutely innocent. Right? Duh.
Yeah. All right. And the bias of the jury doesn't matter. The fact that he only got 4% of the vote in this district doesn't matter. It has nothing to do with the trial.
Oh, is that the 4% he was talking about?
Yeah.
What does that matter?
It doesn't. In the trial, okay. It doesn't matter. Here's the thing. When you go to the peremptory phase where the jury is selected, the voir dire process, everybody's expected to have some kind of bias. Right. Ultimately, the questioning is used to determine if you can put that bias to the side and give the man a fair trial. The most innocent man. Remember, he said you only plead the fifth if you're guilty. It's not true, but give him his way. So let him go to prison. But anyway, so ultimately the voir dire process is there to determine if the jurors can put that bias aside and give the man a fair chance. Different circumstances are going to come up with completely different questions.
Right.
But ultimately, that's what matters. That's the way you phase people out. So it doesn't matter if people voted for him or not. It makes no difference. Just because they vote for you doesn't mean they hate you. Remember, a lot of people don't even vote. Even this day, a lot of people don't even vote. I think it's something like 30% to 40% of California votes at all. So you see what I mean? Most people just don't vote. They may be registered to vote in the federal elections, but they may not vote for state. So it honestly doesn't even matter. None of that stuff matters. Now, calling this a sham trial, a rigged trial, and insulting the judge, that is now argument for a lack of remorse. So that can be taken as a passive admission that he knows what he did and he just doesn't care. So that video, rest assured, this video will be shown at the sentencing hearing on July 11th.
That's so dumb. Why open your mouth? It was rigged. It was a sham. I'm the most innocent man ever.
Because he's hoping with everything he's got that the election is going to save him. And here's the thing, maybe it will. Like I said, the way the law is understood right now, an incarcerated man can be removed from incarceration if he's voted president. Like I said, personally, I don't agree with that take. I don't either. I don't think that's consistent with the letter of the law, but the courts are, if that's how the courts are enforcing the law at this time, then we're just stuck with it.
So with him speaking the way he just did, does that have any, like, I know you said they'll show it at the decision in July if it's not appealed, which it will be. But is that going to, like, isn't that gonna, the people are gonna come back and be like, it's not rigged, I'm a real fucking person. Like, how could, you know what I mean? Like, isn't that going to hurt his chances?
No, this is a fact of law, something that everybody can understand. Adverse statements against yourself are absolutely always admissible. So if the trial is done, but he can still make things worse at the sentencing hearing. So remember, he's still under the rule of the court. So as long as he has a trial date, and so long as he has to complete sentencing, everything in between, you're under the jurisdiction of the court. So that means from any time from the start of the investigation to the day you are let out of prison, adverse statements against yourself are absolutely always admissible.
Okay.
So everything
he says on Truth Social, anything he says in public at his rallies, all of that can be used.
Anything he says, anything he writes, even things he doesn't say, nonverbal cues are also open to interpretation. So if he's on the streets pushing and shoving people, any inference that Alvin Bragg can get out of that, and he'll argue that to the court. But he has to be the one to bring it to the court's attention. So remember, that's why Alec Baldwin is also going to trial.
Because of interview, right?
Right. Initially everything was dismissed as an accident. The district attorney agreed that everybody had taken every necessary precaution and it was just an accident. But it turns out, because of that interview, that Alec Baldwin effectively gave a total of 3 different stories about what actually happened. And that's why they're pursuing charges now. Right. So it's the same thing. So everything he says will be used against him at sentencing. And if it's anything held against him, that's also more he has to fight when he does take this up on appeal. So whether or not he goes to prison, he wants to appeal this, he's just giving himself more to fight. And his lawyers know. His lawyers know he's stupid, but he has lawyers that do what he says.
And I listen to. Are they rock star lawyers though?
I don't know. It's not that they're rock star, but they're on
being a smart ass. That's what Eric July said.
No, it's because I know that, but anyway, it's because they're on retainer. So Trump pays them to stick around. So, and unfortunately, sometimes the guys on retainer, they do what the boss says. So here's a plain as day example. His lawyers are the ones that said the affair with Stormy Daniels never happened. They said that at the trial. That's the reason Stormy Daniels was brought to. She wasn't supposed to be in this case. They didn't have to bring her up whatsoever. Right. But because they mentioned it, his team mentioned it, his team opened the door and allowed her in as a witness. So this is like a simple rule of argument in law. If one guy gives an argument, you are now free to give the equal opposite argument on the same subject. So the state says you did it, you get to say you didn't, right? The simplest example. Now, when it comes to other stuff that wasn't even supposed to be in the trial, like Stormy's affair, otherwise would have been called hearsay. By law, it would have been called hearsay because it only has a superficial relationship to the trial. But Trump's team said it didn't happen. So now Stormy gets introduced in the trial, not as a fact against him. Whether or not the affair really happened, that makes no difference to the facts of the case. Like the fraud on the documents, that makes no difference. But his credibility is now gone. So that's what that's for. Because remember, there are facts in an argument, like the dead body, the blood, and there's your credibility. I wasn't there. I was with somebody else. And then if there's an opposing witness, now you have a problem. But you make that argument and then you open the door. And that's the only reason Stormy Daniels was even brought up. And they're saying shit like this because he's paying them to say it. Any other lawyer probably would have never, ever even mentioned Stormy Daniels for any reason whatsoever, because they know once you open that door, now you set yourself up for failure. So
he said Mother Teresa could not beat these charges. He did not. He did not say Mother.
Actually, I bet she could. She could probably lean on some kind of religious immunity.
Oh my God. Like he was like, isn't that a weird comparison?
But that's who he is. So you know how he is. He's up there. He's up there with the best.
Die for their sins.
He's up there with Elvis.
I am the most innocent person ever.
He's up there with Elvis. He taught Jesus how to walk on water.
That's fair. That's fair. You're absolutely right.
You know, and you know how these people are. That's why I said there's no such thing as an idol. They're all false idols. There's no such thing as a real one. And guys like this prove it. So, like I said, all said and done, you know, he set himself up.
Yeah. Oh my God.
For the most part, he set himself up. But you know, there's also an interesting thing. He might be able to appeal because most of Michael Cohen's testimony was stricken.
Yeah. Was it really? See, I didn't know that.
Yeah, most of it. I'm not. It's because he admitted to stealing from Trump.
So because he stole.
He's too adverse. So he's shown too much bias to be a credible witness.
Like they're going wild out here. How we can find the Apprentice tape where Donald Trump says the N-word. What? That's what you're focusing on right now? Let's see if
we can find it then. Do you think it exists?
I mean, I'm 100% sure he said the N-word before. Like, I don't even need to hear it, and I know that. That's fine.
He just looks like, just look him right in the eye. Right, he looks like the kind of guy to say it and then say "oops," but with the same face.
No, I don't even feel like the "oops" would be there.
I'll give him enough credit to say "oops." He's not bright. I don't know that he's the most malicious man on earth, but he's clearly not bright.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah, like I said, all said and done, it's not a good look for. It's not a good look for Republicans, but at the same time, everything's so divided, it doesn't even matter because people know who they're going to vote for. It really does come down to those independent voters. Do they care? And honestly, the way economics are going, I don't think people care. I don't think we did.
We did it, Joe.
I don't think people care that he's guilty of this crime. I don't think most people didn't even care he had the affair.
Right, nobody cared. Let's be real. Nobody cared he slept with her. That wasn't even the issue. Like you said, it wouldn't have even been brought into trial. And it was the same situation that happened, and I know I've mentioned this before, but in the Amber Heard and Johnny Depp case, they had mentioned, or Amber had accidentally, in speaking, mentioned his ex, and I don't remember exactly who. And like his lawyer did this little like fist bump thing, right? He was so excited, so they brought her in to prove her wrong. Like this is stupid mistake he made.
No, I bet you they did a fist bump because they planned. Remember, she was faking it from day one. Nobody believed her story. There was one of the jurors that did a short video, like a TikTok video, and he explained that one of the reasons they sided with Johnny is because Amber just overall just looked like she was full of shit on the stand.
Oh yeah. Like those tears were super real, guys. Super real. I promise.
You can. So here's what. Assume that was authentic. It wasn't, but assume that was authentic. Here's what would have happened. So again, I do forget that woman's name too. Forgive me.
Kate Moss.
Kate Moss. Yes. Okay.
That's her.
Kate Moss was not supposed to be in the trial. So any statement of hers would have been considered hearsay. So it's not admissible because, like, again, only superficially it seems related, but it's not good enough. But Amber's reaction, her stage reaction, would have been created an exception to open the door. This is called excited utterance. The argument being that because of the distress that she is faking or displaying, she actually it's considered now considered a legitimate part of the story only because of the emotion that she was pretending to show.
Right, and she actually said, I had heard from Kate Moss that he pushed her down or something like that, and they were like, okay, now we can bring her in. You said it, not me.
Right. Yeah, she wasn't just full of shit on the stand, she was full of shit on the bed.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
But
There's
anyway,
a song by Rome Music,
yes.
which I love. But in one of the
So
lyrics,
many
he's
songs
like,
about that.
no, it's funny because I didn't know the words to it. When I finally read the words, it said something about leaving and taking an Amber Heard, and everybody knows what that means now. Everybody, you are known as the lady that shits on beds. Congratulations. You're Mira? No, nobody's gonna remember that, but they will.
Right.
Remember that giant ass turd.
I know that thing. Like even the dog looked at that and got scared.
Right? And the poor lady
That shit
had
ain't
to
me.
clean it up. Oh, what a nasty woman.
Oh. What a keeper. I know. I'm surprised nobody saw that and said, yeah, I'm next. There had to be somebody in Hollywood to say, really?
No, there was somebody in Hollywood that was like, I don't know. I like pitch play. I kind of dig
Even if
it.
it's shit, even if it's hey, shit, even if it's Diddy. Diddy needs somebody to hold because he's in trouble too.
Oh my god,
Apparently.
serious trouble.
Oh. So anyway, that's why Amber allowed that. It's basically it's the same rules because or similar rules. She opened the door, bottom line. So it's just opened the door a different way. And that wasn't supposed to be there. And all that did was support Johnny's credibility as a witness for himself.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So you see how that works. And that's what Trump's team did wrong, at least did so right there. Because, like I said, Stormy was not supposed to be there. Was it 22 days of trial? I think. And that could have easily been reduced,
right,
by 20 or 19 days, if Trump's team had just shut the hell up and not even brought Stormy into it. But they probably did what he wanted. The lawyers probably did what Trump wanted. He got what he wanted. He just didn't get what he asked for. Or he got what he asked for. He just didn't get what he wanted. He didn't want anything adverse admitted against him, but he did it himself. He lended himself to it. And now here's also another thing that could have lended itself to Trump's guilt. There's a term for it in law. I forget what it is, but basically if the lawyer is too harsh, then the jury ends up hating the lawyer, even if the lawyer is right.
right.
So even if the lawyer is asking all the right questions, basically the jury just doesn't care because the lawyer looks like an asshole. I have a phone call coming I need to take. Give me 5 minutes.
Okay, you're totally fine. I wanted to find a breakdown because I wasn't sure. So it's 11 counts related to invoices, 12 counts related to ledger entries, and 11 counts related to checks. Yeah, they wouldn't need Stormy for that. Since Joseph is generally, I was going to say genuinely, and I don't know why, the lawyer guy, we're going to switch over to Homelander gameplay trailer because I haven't got to talk about this yet because when it did drop, I couldn't watch it. Let me share this tab instead. And then yesterday, Steph and I had tried something new, and I actually really liked it. I had so much fun with Steph yesterday on stream. It was really, really good. Mo and Nerd Out for 2028. Yes, 2028, because we already know that James Knox and Hooded are 2024. So I'm okay with this. Oh my god. Okay, so we're gonna check out the gameplay trailer for this. I've actually only watched it. Okay, maybe twice. Maybe 2 or 3 times. So I've watched it a couple of times, but I'm not the biggest fan. A little bit like Troy Baker. Ooh. All that matters is it doesn't sound like Anthony Starr. Right? That's the big deal here. But how many people are going to avoid playing him just for that intro alone? I swear. Oh, good though.
You have chosen war with a god.
No, you have.
I feel like he's trying to be like, I don't know. I'm not trying to be uber critical here, okay, you guys?
But
I'm not. Shut up. No, I'm just kidding.
well, you know you are. No, you are one of those girls. I'm not racist, but and now in comes a plethora of YouTube violations.
Listen
Okay.
to his voice for me, okay?
You have chosen war with a god. No, you have.
It sounds like he's like trying to take a shit. Or
oh,
like
you have.
Like it sounds like it's painful, right? Like it sounds weird.
You've chosen war with Thai food. Yeah.
Oh my god, I had Taco Bell. No. I don't like it. Have you seen this trailer yet?
I saw that. Wait, is this the full gameplay trailer?
Yeah, the full
finally?
gameplay trailer.
No, I haven't seen this yet. I was waiting on this.
Hell yeah. Get your real
Okay.
reaction. No, hush. All right.
Well, I'm just saying, don't get any violations.
No, not hush. I'm not. This is safe. I know that.
I hope he hates
I love
Luke.
her. Pharaoh looks so good. You hope what?
I hope he hates Liu Kang. I haven't liked Liu Kang in years. Honestly, since he became a zombie, I said, good, stay there.
I mean, okay. I like Liu Kang, but like, I don't know. I liked him in 11 better. His end outfit was so good.
I think, honestly, I actually like the designs overall better. But they have better deaths in this game for fact. Bottom line, like this game plays way better. I just actually like the artwork better.
On 11?
Yeah, I thought the overall designs were good. I know it doesn't perform the same because it was made for the PS4, not PS5. But I think if they took that to this generation, I think we'd be having different conversations about both games.
Well, I think 11 had the best Scorpion. Like, there's better. It had Noob. There was some really good characters in it. But I feel like this game, just the gameplay for me is so much better.
Yeah, the way they just been reimagining everybody is great.
Yeah.
No, by all means, I'm really looking forward to more.
Fight.
That's it. I love that parry.
Yes.
I love that parry. That's going to be good, but it's going to be one of those moves that's like back down over 2. Like, it's definitely going to be one like
It's gonna be hard.
Ryko. Yeah, it's going to be harder.
If it is, it should come with a bar. It should cost a bar because that's saving you from a lot, even if it's
cool,
low
though.
damage. Oh, it's great. I love moves like that. And so far,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, just keep it going. Just keep it going.
Okay,
Yeah, just keep it going. This is cool. That
look at her. Please, everybody, look at your screen right now. I love Farah so much right now. She's riding him like she's supposed to. I love it. She's adorable.
He looks like he has syphilis.
No, she's so cute.
No, it's just the way the fire was coming out of his crotch and his ass at the same time.
Oh my god. Okay, this is cringe, right? It's not just me. This is fucking cringe.
What do you say?
Okay, this is his throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is his throw, mind you. Please. Right here.
That'll get ratings.
That's one of the most fucking.
I like it.
I hate it so much.
Oh wait, let's see how he beats up Katana. He likes beating up women. So let's see.
Yeah, that's fair.
I know he saves the best for the women.
Sticks and stones, Katana.
I love Farah in the back. She's gonna be the best. He's Superman.
Everyone has a freezing point.
Take your best shot, Frosty.
His voice, I can't take it. Take your best shot, Frosty.
I know he sounds like he's on the other side of the order box. I'm still waiting. Yeah, I'm waiting for the. You want fries with that?
Oh my god!
And you can hear it now, right? See what I mean?
Yes, no, I can't. Oh my god!
He does.
That's
He sounds like
great.
he sounds like some dumbass kid with a security job who tries to try and get through.
How did he stop that if that was a wake up move? Okay. Did she just give him armor? Hold on. Wait.
Well, remember you can for the get up counters, you have to what is it? You have to enhance them.
So that may have been why it stopped.
Yeah. I just think that's a good counter to get up moves though. That's gonna make him a pain in the ass. That right there is yeah, I can already see the frustrations from that online. Just as anybody gets up, as soon as they start to get up, anybody who has the timing down on that is probably gonna win the match most of the time.
But look, she's making him bleed here. She gives him some sort of armor, which by making him bleed, okay, like bitch is kinky, but okay.
Yeah, let me see how that plays out. What does that do? I don't know anything about that.
Now he's got some weird armor on him.
Oh, okay. Okay, so it's probably like the armor you get from Frost. So
yeah.
So the low attacks will still work.
People are gonna zone. Ooh, people are gonna zone the fuck out of him.
This is gonna be good.
I love her.
Oh, she's so short. Was she short in the other games?
She's
wow.
not. So there's I didn't know this was a thing till like 2 weeks ago. But like, I love Farrah. She is of age, guys. But for some reason, people were saying she was a little kid. I didn't know like that was a thing. She's not a little kid. She's a grown-ass adult, and she's adorable. Oh. She's just little. She's fun size.
Well, yeah, she looks like she fits neatly in most overhead storages.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and that's where you're supposed to put kids, right?
Well, not generally. I mean, you can. It would work. But I'm just saying, I love her gameplay so here. So she's legal to ride Homelander. She is legal to ride Homelander. Yes.
I don't think Homelander has limit.
This is sick as hell.
Wow!
That's so good.
Fatality.
Like literally 4 days. That is so cool.
Funny how they made her small. She does look annoying.
That's kind of how she is though. Like she's always a little annoying. Like, but I love her voice. I love like her over the top energy. I love the way. So I'm not a big fan. How do you feel about guest characters?
I love them.
You do?
Yeah. I've always loved that the artist occasionally takes something new that clearly doesn't belong, at least on the surface, and then tries to find room for it. Sometimes it works.
I mean, I feel like it worked with Omni-Man. Peacemaker was really, really good too. So I'm hoping they can pull this off. I bet now I've heard rumors, you know how like they change the palette, you get different colors. The rumor I heard is that we're getting like palettes based on the other characters. So like the Deep, Maeve, like Black Noir, stuff like that, which would be really cool. I'd love to have like a black suit for him. That would be awesome.
The black suit. You heard that, right, Mo? The black suit.
You and Hooded are the only two that have the guts to make fun of me. And you know what? I kind of respect it. I kind of do. I know I have a list.
I'll see you at Jackbox.
Oh my God. Oh yeah, Jackbox
anyway.
Tomorrow, guys. Tomorrow this time. But anyways, if that's okay, I guess I just should ask privately. Yeah. But what do you think? What do you think overall?
I like it though. I think you seemed kind of skeptical at first. I like everything. I still think Omni-Man's the best. I just like that he has to do everything with his hands. Because just as imposing as he is, and he has to do everything with his hands, he's still probably the most imposing character there. Yeah.
And you know what? It's not that I don't like it. I'm excited. I love Homelander as a character. I can't wait for the new season. I'm excited. I think he looks good. it does slightly bother me, the voice.
Yeah.
That's gonna take a little getting used to. I would love for one of them to come out and tell
Would
why.
you like your receipt?
Would you like a receipt with that?
Merry Christmas, have a happy New Year.
Oh my god. No. It would be happy holidays. It would be happy holidays. Come on now. They're woke.
Hey, well, he performs really well. He's got some really good stuff. Like I can see already where he's going to be a pain in the ass.
Oh yeah.
Like I said,
oh yeah.
So he can stop get up counters, and he has an immediate counter where the whole thing about grabbing strikes and then kicking you back. I'm guessing it only works on punches unless he's got a bunch more that you haven't seen yet.
I do like complaining. I do. But no. The thing is when it's something I'm very close to, I notice the things that I don't like, and the voice bothers me. I do feel like he played. Did you play Injustice 2 at all?
Yeah, once. I didn't mind it.
Once? You played the game one singular time?
Yeah, I played it at a friend's house. I was Batman.
What the?
Oh, it wasn't, but I didn't really like the Mortal Kombat style of play. MK1 was just so much better.
Game person?
Oh, I'm still a Street Fighter fan, but the Mortal Kombat style was just too slow.
I get it.
The pace of it was just too different from what I was used to. So that's why I didn't care that much. Oh yeah, Reese rips on you all the time.
All the time, but I meant specifically my voice, or my lisp rather. But yeah, Reese's.
It's just more pronounced recently. You're just making it easy.
Fuck up. No. He did not say Tekken is better. No. So here's the thing. The reason I asked about guest characters is because I'm one of the people that really like to see the characters that are based in the game given like the forefront. So I would have loved to have like Farrah Tor and have that as instead of like a Homelander, because I'm more excited for Farrah. Like, I think she looks really, really cool. I love the original characters in the game, and I hate when they get replaced by guest characters.
No one's getting replaced though. The main story is still there, and the main story still sucks. But you're getting more. That's the thing. You're getting something different. The artists. Here's the thing. The creators love this because they get to take something. When they run out of ideas, there's nothing wrong with looking at something else. And when they do something like this, it actually does keep the gameplay fresh. Because like who else can block get-ups like that? The get-up counters like that. No one has the same kind of counters that.
No, you're absolutely. You know what? It all comes back to when the turtles showed up in Injustice. Ever since then, I hate guest characters.
What if they show an MK2?
I would not buy the game.
I don't think they will, especially because I think right now they're in Street Fighter 6. I don't know if it was just a mod or if that was something that was legitimately added. But if that was legitimately part of the game, then you're not going to see them in MK1.
No, that's the thing, full. And you know what? I actually would buy the game. That's a fucking lie.
What if they start putting bands in here? Like, what if they start putting in Gene Simmons, like Ozzy Osbourne?
Oh my god, I would fucking love that. Come on now, that would be so cool.
Ozzy biting off heads. Yes.
That'd be so good.
Oh, that stuff. But yeah, stuff like that. I like guest characters for that reason. It does give the creators something else to think about. It gives them different inspiration. There's nothing wrong with it. It blends in great. And obviously fans love
that makes sense, right? Like Homelander absolutely makes sense in a Mortal Kombat game.
Yes, Homelander does. Omni-Man does. Even though, truthfully, Omni-Man should be superior to all of them. But at the same time, they have mortals fighting gods for some reason.
Right.
And all the characters. I even like the guest characters from. Okay, when did they really start that? Was Mortal Kombat 9 when they started horror movie characters? Was that the first time they did that?
10.
It was Mortal Kombat 10.
Yeah. Well, the 9 they had like
I remember they had Kratos.
Kratos was really. They did have. You're right, because they had Freddy Krueger.
Yeah, they gave Freddy Krueger and then eventually Jason Voorhees. You had Leatherface. I liked all stuff like
that. That was neat. You're right. I just like having the original. I want Takeda. Like Takeda Takahashi is one of the most badass names in gaming.
What do you think it means?
I don't fucking know, but it sounds cool.
What if it means uptown girl? We translate things.
I love some Billy Joel, so it's fine. Raymond said Tristan just likes girls. Yeah, I mean, that's fair. And you know what? I'm still kind of pissed. Did you see that leak of Suicide Squad?
No, I'm surprised the game is still going. It's not going to last until December.
No, I don't know that it is. I mean,
I promised you that.
Yeah, I really did, but I'm just kind of pissed because it kind of seems like it's going to be a trans character, and that doesn't make me mad. This sounds so horrible, but like we only have one chick.
So they they finally gave us the trans Harley?
No, Victoria Freeze.
Oh, I don't care about that. I want Harley to transition.
No, I'll send you a picture afterwards so you can.
I want to be the voice actor for the transitioned Harley.
Oh my God! Can you imagine?
Can you imagine?
No,
this voice coming out of what used to be Harley.
I would scream that shit just to make fun of you. It would be fucking hilarious.
I get paid to make a dream come true. You can't stop me. You can't hurt me.
Oh my God.
But like all of a sudden, I think Homelander does look great. He is going to be good for the game. I don't think any of the I really don't think any of the guest characters have been bad. I don't think it seems like their worst ideas have been saved for the cameos. So that turned out to be somewhat of a saving grace because I remember the cameos at first. At first, I was thrown off because I didn't know exactly what they did, and then we were wondering, we're going to see cameos of characters we really wanted instead of instead of getting gameplay that we really wanted. Right? So cameos turned out to be a great idea.
I love it.
But now it seems like their worst ideas go to the cameos, and then their best ideas stay with the playable characters. So that turned out to be a good idea for them. Like obviously, like Movado is still nobody's favorite.
Nobody likes Movado. Stop it! Oh my goodness.
Well, but like all said, no, I think he's going to be good. I think he's starting June 4th. I bet you people are going to take about an hour to ace him. You know, the people who've been playing this game forever already. So people are going to take the time to master him. I bet you, he's probably going to be a pain in the ass.
I bet so. All right, guys, we're going to wrap up. I'm so sorry about the stream fucking up earlier, Joseph.
I'm surprised you let that happen.
I should have tested it. I should have, but I didn't think it was going to be bad. Like last week we did Rat-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta by Baby Metal, and it wasn't an issue. But yes, Jackbox tomorrow. Gonna get shit faced.
I just got the phone call clearing me to go back to work, so I actually won't be there tomorrow.
You suck. No, it's okay.
I will find time.
Yay. All right. Thank you so much, guys. I appreciate you, Joseph.
Thank you for letting me on.
Next time.
Have a good
Bye,
one,
guys.